Cabinet committees. They are extra constitutional body. They are provided with the rules of the business. Right. It is set up by the Prime Minister as a requirement, and the number and the composition may vary from time to time. Non-cabinet ministers are not debarred from their membership. It is mostly headed by the Prime Minister. We need to know the difference between the parliamentary committees and cabinet committee. Right. So the Prime Minister, here we can have the non-cabinet ministers also. Cabinet members outside cabinet also participate in this cabinet committee. They are not debarred, right? So we say that they are not debarred. The non-cabinet ministers are not debarred from their membership. It is mostly headed by the Prime Minister. To formulate the policy proposals for the consideration of the cabinet and also undertake the decisions, but cabinet can review their decisions, help in in-depth examination of the policy issues and effective coordination based on the principle of the division of the labor and effective delegation. The cabinet committee is chaired by the Prime Minister, right? So appointment committee, economic affairs committee, public affairs committee, Security Committee, Investment Growth Committee, Skill Development Committee, Parliamentary Affairs Committee is chaired by the Home Minister. There are few committees in the Cabinet Committee as well, which are headed by the other ministers, like as such the Home Minister. Right. The Political Affairs Committee, described as the Super Cabinet. The Cabinet Secretariat, the preparation of the agendas of the Cabinet meetings and secretarial assistance to the Cabinet committees. What all the things which we need to remember in this? The first thing is that mostly headed by the Prime Minister. Therefore, there are committees which are headed by Home Minister as well. Such a committee is what we call it as Parliamentary Affairs Committee. He is headed by the Home Minister. The Parliamentary Affairs Committee, his PAC is headed by the Home Minister, and the agenda of the Cabinet meetings is prepared by the Cabinet Secretariat. Political Affairs Committee is described as the Super Cabinet. So, Parliamentary Affairs Committee and Political Affairs Committee are most important committees. Parliamentary Affairs Committee, Political Affairs Committee, same, right? Parliamentary, political, and then the Cabinet Secretary. The next thing which we have to keep into mind is non-cabinet ministers are not debarred from their membership. Now we are looking into the Parliament. The Union government's legislative organ is the Parliament, and it is also known as the Westminster model of the government. Parliament is also known as the Westminster's model of the government. And Part 5 of the Constitution from Article 79 to 122. From Article 52 to 78 deals with the executive, Union executive. In the Part 5, same Part 5. And in the same Part 5, we have another chapter which is from 79 to 122. So 7 and then 9, if you subtract, you will get 2, right? So 79 and 122 deals with the Parliament, organization, composition, duration, officers, procedures, privileges, powers, and so on. And Article 79. Parliament is made up of the President and 2 houses. We have the lower house or the House of the People, and upper house is the Council of the States. Organization of the Parliament, right? Previously, we have seen what is Article 79. It mentions the President and 2 houses. Article 79, therefore, it is mentioning the President as well as 2 houses. So, one of the most important article is Article 79. Here, it is mentioning the President and Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Organization of the Parliament. This is from Article 79. We have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the President. The President is not a member of either house of the Parliament and he does not sit in the Parliament. Still, he is an integral part of the Parliament as bills which is passed by both the houses contain. It cannot become a law without the President's assent. He summons and prorogues both the houses, dissolving the Lok Sabha and address both the houses, issues ordinances when they are not in session. Right. Here we are stating that the organization of the Parliament contains the President, even though the President is not a member of either house, both the houses, and he is not sitting in the Parliament. But a bill, if it needs to be passed, it requires the assent of the President and he summons and prorogues both the houses, dissolving only the Lok Sabha and address both the houses. Ordinance. Now come composition of the Rajya Sabha. Maximum strength is 250, right? And the maximum strength is 552. Maximum strength is like 500, you are dividing it into half is like 250 is a round of number, right? But here alone we have the Lok Sabha is 552. We need to know the maximum strength. But just 5 members are not present, right? That is, it is 245. We have 4 from the Union Territories and 12 are nominated. Remaining you can subtract and you can get 229. 4 are Union Territories. Right. And then 12, 4 and then the 12. The remaining 229, 4 plus 12, you will be getting is 6 you must get 6, right? Because 245 is the strength. 6. Right. And then you get 1. So 16. 229 plus 16 is 245. This is the maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha. Is 250. Whereas the present strength is 245. Where we have 4 members from the Union Territories and 12 are nominated. 4th schedule is related to the allocation of the seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and Union Territories. Right. Allocation of the seats to the states as well as the Union Territories. The representatives of the states in the Rajya Sabha are elected by the members of the state legislative assemblies. Election is held in accordance with the system of proportional representation, single transferable vote. Right. The seats are allotted on the basis of the population as well. We have delimitation commission for allotting the seats as per the population of the states. Now the total members and the maximum strength, the elected is 238 must be elected, but here we have just 245. Therefore, when you are calculating, it is 229 from the states and 4 from the Union Territories. 12 nominated are filled. 4th schedule is important over here. So the 4th schedule, it deals with the allocation of the seats to the Rajya Sabha with respect to the states, and representation of the Union Territories is indirectly elected by the Electoral College constitutes specifically for this purpose. Right. Proportional representation, single transferable. Only Delhi, Puducherry and then Jammu and Kashmir have representation in Rajya Sabha. Nominated from special knowledge or practice in art, literature, science and social service. Composition of the Lok Sabha is 552. Whereas 530 is from the states and 20 from the Union Territories. To Anglo-Indian community, but this provision is not now, right? So 20 is related to the Union Territories. They are directly elected by the people from territorial constituencies of the state. Election is universal adult franchise. A citizen who is above the age of 18 years and who is not disqualified under the provisions of the Constitution of any law is eligible for such a election. Voting age was reduced to 18. Previously, it was 21 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988. Right. Voting age was from 21 to 18 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988 and representation of the Union Territories, choosing the representatives from the Union Territories, direct election to the House of the People Act, members of the Legislative Assemblies from the Union Territories are chosen by direct election. Nominated members, President is the one who is nominating if the community is not adequately represented in the Lok Sabha. So who is nominating? President is the one who is nominating if the community is not adequately represented. The system of elections, we know for the purpose of carrying elections, each state is divided into territorial constituencies. Each state is allotted a number of seats in the Lok Sabha in such a manner which is proportional to the ratio between the number and its population in all the states. Right. It does not apply to the state having population less than 6 million. Less than 6 million, it does not apply. So 6 million is the basic population criteria. Each state is divided into the union territorial constituencies in such a manner that the ratio between the population of each constituencies and the number of seats allotted to it is same throughout the state. Readjustment after the census. After every census, the Lok Sabha seats are readjusted and the division of the territorial constituencies undergoes a revision. Parliament empowered to determine the authority and manner in which it is to be made. Delimitation commissions is 4 times. Right, 1952, 1962, 1972, 2002, 6, 5, 6, 7 and 2000. Right. The 42nd Amendment Act has frozen the seats till the year 2000. It was frozen at 1971 census. That is why we will be having the 2000. Right. So, the Delimitation Commission has been from 1950s, right? 52, 62, 72 and 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976 has froze it till 2000. Now extended the ban till 2026 is by the 84th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2001 has extended the ban till 2026. Now we'll be having the 87th Constitutional Amendment, delimitation on the basis of 2001 census without altering the number of seats. Right. Now you have to delimit somehow. That is why they have mentioned that you can use 2001 census itself for delimitation from the 87th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003. Whereas 84th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2001 has said that the ban till 2026. Reserved the seats for the SCs and the STs. It was originally meant for 1960 but has extended since 95th Constitutional Amendment Act. The reservation is until 2020. And for reserve seat, we have it again amended by the 100 and something. Right. For reserve seats, the entire electoral votes, there is no separate electorates. SC and ST are not debarred from contesting the general elections, general seats, proportional representation for the Rajya Sabha, territorial representation for the Lok Sabha. Reservation, the 106th Amendment Act has said that the reservation of the women in the parliament, it has added 2 articles, Article 330A and Article 332A. Right. Now 2 articles has been added and this is providing 33% of the reservation of the seats for the women candidates. Right. Now it has also amended Article 239 AA to have 33% of the 239 AA is related to the National Capital Territory of Delhi, right? Provide assembly Legislative Assembly of the National Capital Territory of the Delhi. It reserves one-third seats for the women in the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies and legislative assemblies of the National Capital Territories, including those reserved for SC and ST. The reservation will be effective after the publication of the census conducted following the Act's commencement. The reservation is for 15-year period, which is extended by the Parliament. The rotation of the seats allotted for the women will be governed by the parliamentary legislation after each delimitation commission. We are reading about the proportional representation. All the seats get representation in proportion to their number. Even the smallest group gets representation is with the help of the single transferable vote by means of Rajya Sabha, State Legislative Council, and Vice President. The duration is like it is a continuing chamber. The members are elected for a term office of 6 years from the Representation of People Act 1951, and it was first constituted in 1952. Continuing chamber, and it is not subject to dissolution, whereas one-third of the member retire every second year, so the retiring members can be re-elected or nominated any number of the times. Duration is not permanent, but 5 years is the tenure from the date of its first meeting. It automatically dissolves after the expiry of this 5 years. The president can also dissolve the Lok Sabha before the expiry of the term. It cannot be challenged in the court of the law. So the president is dissolving and it is not challenged in the court of the law. This is the most important point to be noted, right? President will dissolve the Lok Sabha and it is not challenged. The term can be extended for 1 year at a time during the national emergency. It cannot continue 6 months after the emergency has been ended. Qualification is citizen of the India, not less than 30 years of age in case of Rajya Sabha and not less than 25 in case of Lok Sabha. So 25, 30, 20. 25 is for the Lok Sabha, 30 is for the Rajya Sabha, right? For the Panchayat elections, we will be having like 21. And for the president elections, we will be having the 35. Right. So 21, 25, 30, 35. And even for the vice president and then the president, we will be having this. Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Panchayat. Additional qualifications under the Representation of the People's Act are registered as an elector for a parliamentary constituency. He must be an elector from a parliamentary constituency. Candidates contesting the Rajya Sabha election need not to be an elector from that particular state. Must be a SC or ST to contest the elections for the reserved seats, and SC and ST can contest the general seats as well. Disqualifications if they are holding an office of profit under the union or the state government, except that of a minister or any other office which is exempted by the parliament. If he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by the court. If he is an undischarged insolvent. If he is not a citizen or voluntarily acquired a citizen of a foreign state or has any acknowledgement of alliance to the foreign state. Disqualified under any law made by the parliament. Disqualifications is in case if he is like untouchability, dowry, sati, breaching or practicing any social crimes. Not having found guilty of certain election offences for corrupt practices in elections. Not having convicted for any offence resulting in the imprisonment for 2 or more years. If they are imprisoned for 2 or more years, they are not eligible for detention of a person under preventive detention. We be having it is not a qualification. Right. Preventive detention is not a qualification. Not has been convicted for promoting enmity Right? He is not promoting enmity between different groups or offense of the bribery. Not have been punished for preaching or practicing the social crimes like untouchability. On the question whether the member disqualification, the president decision is final. However, he should obtain the opinion of the election commission and act accordingly. Now, the disqualification on the ground of the defection, it is a person shall be disqualified from being a member if he so is disqualified on the ground of defection under 10th schedule. Right. If he voluntarily gives up the membership of the political party on whose ticket he is elected. If he is abstaining from voting in the House in contrary to any direction given by his political party. As a precondition for this disqualification, his abstention from voting, right, should not be condemned by his party for authorized person within 15 days of such incident. If any independently elected members joins any political party and if any nominated members join the political party after a period of 6 months, the question of disqualification under the 10th schedule is decided by the chairman in case of Rajya Sabha and speaker in case of the Lok Sabha. The disqualification, right, it is under the chairman in case of the Rajya Sabha. And then we also have the speaker in case of the Lok Sabha. The decision is subject to the judicial review. Vacating of the seats. Double membership. A person cannot be the member of both the houses of the parliament at the same time. Representation of the People's Act 1961. It's not 1951, it is. If a person is elected to both the houses, he must intimate within 10 days in which house he desires. Otherwise, the Rajya Sabha house will become vacant. House. If a sitting member of the house is elected to another house, his seat in the first house is what is becoming the vacant. If a person is elected in 2 seats in the same house, he should select one option, otherwise both the seats become vacant. Similarly, a person cannot be a member of both the houses of the parliament and the state legislature at the same time. If a person does not vacate, his seat in the state legislature will be vacated within 14 days. Disqualification. If the member of the parliament becomes subject to any disqualifications, his seat becomes vacant. If he is resigning, his resignation to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and then we'll be having the speaker of the Lok Sabha. However, the chairman or the speaker may not accept the resignation if he is satisfied that it is not voluntary or genuine. Right. Absence. A house can declare the seat of the member vacant if he is absent for all the meetings of the party of 60 days without the permission. Absent for 60 days. Other cases, if his election is declared void by the court, if he is expelled by the House, if he is elected to the office of the president or the vice president, if he is appointed to the governor of the state. And what is the disqualified person is elected? He is held under the RPA 1951, and there is no procedure in the Constitution. The High Court can declare the election as void, and the appeal goes to the Supreme Court. Oath or affirmation: to be true faith, right? And allegiance to the Constitution, to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of the India, and to faithfully discharge the duties upon which he is about to enter, right?